Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's top 10 Kickstarters of the month. And before I get started, I do have Kickstarter of my own for our variant cover for Pride Month. We are going to be selling these at the Pride event in June, and we want to do a special limited edition cover for Haunting and Like Father, Like Daughter's crossover. So this is a special way to get that cover before June, and also if you can't make the event, it's very limited, so hopefully you guys could go check that out. Also, if you guys are trying to up your game on Kickstarter, I'm also a consultant, so if you want to improve, well, like I mentioned, go hit me up and we can talk about consulting. Now, let's jump into the top 10 for December. December is an interesting month on Kickstarter because there's this idea that you can't launch in December because of Christmas and the holidays. But honestly, I believe December is a kind of a secret month that you should be launching because there's honestly less competition out there. So I feel like there's a lot of breathing room compared to your Octobers and Novembers where there's like 300 to 400 campaigns. So very excited to jump into this list. And number 10 for me is Ocean Smoke issue 1. This is a not safe for work book, Pirates. So if you enjoy the pirate genre and you like the not safe for work books on Kickstarter, this one's for you. There's some good preview pages here, and it's a person who wants to be the queen of pirates. It's a very simple premise that's easy to jump on board for, and I guess pun intended for that one. Moving on to number 9, which is Old Dirty, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, so I'm going to say Old Dirty B, graphic novel, Super 7 figures, and this is a music-driven graphic novel influenced by hip-hop. And, you know, if you look at the history of comics and even the history of hip-hop, they meld together so well. There's so many hip-hop and / rappers who have been inspired by comics and comics that have been inspired by hip-hop. And I love the bending of cultures. And, you know, on Kickstarter in general, you don't see a lot of hip-hop inspired comics. So it's cool to see it on the platform where the direct market has done a little bit more with that. So I'm glad to see a project like this on Kickstarter. Moving on to number 8, which is DARREN McCARTY, Life's a Grind, Enjoying My Truth. And this is actually a hockey graphic novel talking about a hockey player. I don't know anything about hockey, but I do love a good sports book, and I like a good biography too, and I feel like this is a cool melding of that. And again, it felt unique because, you know, how many hockey stories you get to see, especially biographies in comics. And yeah, it just seemed like an interesting premise to me. So that's number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is Save Now, which is from Bad Idea, which is definitely, I would say, an upcoming publisher on Kickstarter, especially this year. They've had so many wonderful projects, and I really like the differences they're doing in the direct market and then also diving into Kickstarter. And this has Matt Kindt on board as well, who was best known for doing many stuff in the direct market, but also one of the biggest Kickstarters ever, which was the Keanu Reeves Kickstarter. He was the co-writer of that book. So, you know, a name that's already known on Kickstarter, and also a simple premise of trying to save the world and a guy trying to do that and the end of the world, apocalypse type stuff. So, you know, a great team behind this, and I thought that was interesting. Moving on to number 6, which is Found in the Forgotten. This is issue 1, and this is also 18+ book. This is a fantasy-driven, I guess not safe for work, or at least mature LGBT comic book. I love the queer books on Kickstarter. I like that every month you pretty much can find one, and the artwork was so good for this. I love the colors, especially kind of has this watercolor painting style to it. And if you enjoy fantasy, you like LGBT books, go check this one out. Moving on to number 5, which is Van Helsing Vampire Hunter issue 1. If you follow Zenescope, again, a direct market publisher, they are jumping on board with Kickstarter. I believe this actually is coming out on Kickstarter before even the direct market. A character that's already very popular for them. She's a well-known staple in their universe of Zenescope and then Grimm fairy tales. So I thought that was really cool. And then Pat Shan's on board, which we'll talk about Pat later. And he's known for doing stuff for Zenescope and also very known for doing stuff on Kickstarter. So I thought this was a great melding to bring this property and this creative team on board for this type of Kickstarter. And issue 1, again, a lot of times these publishers in direct market, they tend to do like graphic novels or collections, so it's cool to see an original issue 1 on Kickstarter. Moving on to number 4, which is Not Tested on Animals, issues 1 through 3. The art just looked cool. It's about this doctor testing animals. I'm sure there's a bigger background that we learn in the book, but it had this really great horror feel to it, kind of Frankenstein-esque. And the artwork was really solid for it, and it was a good presentation on the page, and some really great covers for this as well, which is why it's high on the list. So that's number 4, I believe. Moving on to number 3, which is Holiday Spirits. And, you know, this is a perfect timing. Travis Gibb is working on this book. He's done many, many anthologies, successful anthologies. So this is definitely one of them as well. And I like the melding of, and I'm using that word a lot, but I do like the bridge between horror and Christmas. So you don't really get to see that very often. So that's already a cool, unique theme with some great creators coming together to build this anthology. So, and obviously a perfect month to do it in December, and while the holidays are here, but somehow we're still thinking about Halloween because it was only a few months ago. So I thought this was a good idea for a December campaign. Moving on to number 2, which is AMORINI, Amateur Cupid, issue 1. Usually we get to see Cupid stories about other people, so it's cool to see a not safe for work book that has to actually do with Cupid. And this is a Pat Chan comic, and again, earlier in the video I said that there's so many creators and campaigns that believe that they can't launch in December and have a big campaign, and this book proves that you can have a big campaign in December and do an issue 1 and be successful. So that is why that is number 2 for me. Moving on to Dead End Moon, issue 1 through 3, and that is my number 1 pick. It's a sexy supernatural western. Bad Bug's just been doing some wonderful projects, multiple projects a month on Kickstarter, and they've been hitting out of the ballpark with all of them, with some really great covers, good interior art, and just, you know, expert building of imprint and franchise here, and just getting you excited for every launch. And this one is very similar, with some really great artwork and a combination of genres that are fun to have together. And yeah, no, I'm loving everything Bad Bug's doing, which is why that is number 1 on my list. Let me know in the comments below what were your favorite Kickstarters of the month, and do you believe more Kickstarters should be launching in December? Let me know. This is Kat, Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.